Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to move this motion from this table. Mr. Speaker, this is an historical moment, and therefore, with your permission and honorable members, Mr. Speaker, allow me to proceed to give notice of the following motion. Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable members, I beg to give notice of the following special motion as follows. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Article 150, Sub-Article 1B and Sub-Article 2 of the same, read together with Article 145 of the Constitution of Kenya that we passed in 2010, and as read together with our standing orders number 64 and 65 of the standing orders of the National Assembly, the Assembly of the Republic of Kenya, this Honorable House resolves to remove from office by way of impeachment His Excellency Kibwezi Gachagua, EGH, the current Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, this special motion was lodged with the Clerk of the National Assembly on the 27th September 2024 and contains 11 grounds for impeachment. Mr. Speaker, in compliance with the law, as stated earlier, the grounds are concise, precise, are particularized in the motion, and this is a motion, and are supported by cogent, convincing, persuasive, evidentiary material in the nature of documents, affidavits, and electronic evidence. Mr. Speaker, I will also be presenting live witnesses, viva voce evidence, who will testify to corroborate the evidence that we have adduced in support of the grounds of impeachment. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, in the interest of the time allocated, I am not able to go clause by clause, sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph, because as you notice, the grounds themselves constitute about 42 pages, and with the rest of the material, we have about nearly 100 pages. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, with your guidance, allow me to summarize the 11 grounds as follows. Generally, Mr. Speaker, as members will realize, the particulars of these grounds are that His Excellency Kibwezi Gachagua has engaged himself in acts of omission and commission that constitute offenses under our Constitution, offenses under international law, and offenses under our own statutes. On ground one, Mr. Speaker, we will be demonstrating before this House that His Excellency Kibwezi Gachagua has grossly violated Articles 10(2)(1)(a), 10(2)(b) and c, Articles 27(4), Article 73(1)(a) and 2(b), Article 75(1)(c), and Article 129, Sub-Article 2 of the Constitution of Kenya, as well as Articles 147(1), as read with Article 131(2)(c) and d of the Constitution of Kenya. And when the time comes, Mr. Speaker, I will be laying detail, article by article, to show the violations. On ground number 2, Mr. Speaker and honorable members, at the opportune time, I will demonstrate to Kenyans that His Excellency Kibwezi Gachagua has violated Article 147(1) of the Constitution and Article 152(1) of the Constitution of Kenya, the most progressive constitution in Africa. Mr. Speaker, on ground 3, I will be demonstrating before this House to Kenyans and to the international community that His Excellency Kibwezi Gachagua has violated Article 6(2) of the Constitution, Article 10(2)(a) of the Constitution, Article 174 of the Constitution, Article 186(1) of the Constitution, Article 189(1) of the Constitution, as well as the 4th schedule of the Constitution of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, this is the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. It is not a mere document. It speaks to the soul of this nation. Under ground 4, Mr. Speaker, I will demonstrate that His Excellency Kibwezi Gachagua has violated Article 161 of the Constitution of Kenya. I will further demonstrate under ground 5 that His Excellency Kibwezi Gachagua, the Deputy President, the current Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, has grossly violated Article 3(1) as read together with Article 148(5)(a) of the Constitution. Under ground 6, Mr. Speaker and honorable members, I will demonstrate that the Honorable Kibwezi Gachagua has committed crimes under Section 13(1)(a) and 62 of the National Cohesion and Integration Act, the act that speaks to our nationhood, the act that speaks to our multi-ethnicity, the act that speaks to our society remaining together as a cohesive society. And I will demonstrate with videos, I will demonstrate with affidavits, I will demonstrate with documents that the man holding the office of the Deputy President has violated the same law that he swore to protect in his own oath of office. Under ground 7, Mr. Speaker, I will demonstrate before this House that His Excellency Kibwezi Gachagua has committed crimes under Sections 45(1), Section 46, Section 47(a)(3), Section 48(1) of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act. Anti-Corruption, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, by using his office to unjustly enrich himself, by using his office to acquire within 2 months properties well beyond 55.2 billion. And Mr. Speaker, I will demonstrate before this House that during the presidential debate, if I may be listened to, Mr. Speaker, that during the presidential debate, His Excellency Kibwezi Gachagua did declare that he was worth 800 million. We are aware that he's paid slightly over 1 billion, meaning that for the last 2 years, the match he could have accumulated justly is about 24 million. But I will demonstrate before Kenyans that he has properties to himself, the ones that I was able to get in my time of research, worth 5.2 billion Kenya shillings. This is what we call unexplained assets, and we must slay the dragon of corruption from the highest office. Mr. Speaker, under the same ground, I will also be demonstrating, this is ground number 7, that His Excellency Kibwezi Gachagua has violated Sections 2, 3, 4, and 7 of the Proceeds of Crime and Money Laundering Act. Mr. Speaker, you are aware that the Proceeds of Crime and Money Laundering Act is one of those laws pursuant to Section 2 of the Constitution of Kenya that we domesticated because of our international obligations about money laundering. And therefore, by proving the same, I will also be demonstrating before Kenyans that His Excellency Kibwezi Gachagua has committed international crimes. Under ground 8, Mr. Speaker, I will demonstrate that the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya has committed crimes under Section 132 of the Penal Code and Section 29 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. And honorable members will realize that the Leadership and Integrity Act is the law that was enacted by this Parliament, none other than this Parliament, to give effect to Chapter 6 on leadership and integrity of the Constitution. Under ground 9, I will be able to show, and Mr. Speaker, when we get to this ground, the ground of gross misconduct, I will be able to speak to the House in a very clear manner as to what constitutes gross misconduct as interpreted by our own courts. And I will be able to show that the person of the Deputy President is a bully. The person of the Deputy President has been threatening public officials. The person of the Deputy President has carried himself in a manner that brings disrespect to the office that he holds, and therefore has grossly misconducted himself. Under ground 10, Mr. Speaker, I will also specifically demonstrate that the person of the Deputy President has committed the offense of gross misconduct in the manner of insubordination, insubordinating the presidency and the Kenyan state. The Kenyan state is our soul. And if you insubordinate the state, you are not worth being a state officer. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, Underground 11, with your permission, when the time comes, I will also demonstrate, honorable members, if we may be listened to, I will also demonstrate that specifically the Honorable Kibwezi Gachagua has committed crimes of gross misconduct, as I had earlier alluded to, in terms of bullying and threatening public officers. Mr. Speaker, in compliance with the provisions of Articles 145(1) of the Constitution, as read together with the National Assembly Standing Order number 65, honorable members, if you may listen, this is important. A total, Mr. Speaker, a total of 291 members of this National Assembly have graciously appended their signatures in support of this motion. 291 members. Mr. Speaker, it will be remembered, Mr. Speaker, it will be remembered that at this stage of moving the motion, the requirement of the law is that the motion should be supported by 1/3, translating to about 117 members. However, Mr. Speaker, we have 291. I therefore wish to thank my colleague members of Parliament for supporting this motion to over 83%, way beyond the required threshold of 2/3, which is 67%, that is required at the next stage of voting for this motion. So, Mr. Speaker, there are times when we used to say this is an open and shut case. Mr. Speaker, sir, as a requirement of our standing orders, please allow